Hi, this is Dovid Orlofsky, and welcome to the special Shabbos Shira edition of the Rabbi Orlofsky Show. And whether you're watching with our friends over at Torah Anytime, or wherever you watch or listen to your podcast, as always, we are happy to have you. I did a Shabbos in Muncie years ago for Rabbi Center, and the Rebbitzin had a word that she liked to use. She was using it to explain a number of situations. Serendipity. Serendipity means that, things move along in a particular way, whether you realize it or not. You just don't see it all the time. So it happened to be that this group of Australians came to my house, and it happened to be just before Shabbos Shira. So I said, as long as you're here, why don't we make a musical episode for Shabbos Shira? And that's what we did the first year on Shabbos Shira on the Rabbi Orlofsky Show. The second year, we managed to bring in some of the most sought-after musical talent in the Jewish world, who had all studied in the Waterbury Yeshiva, and now they're all in Imre Bina, and they did a musical show. Last year, we were on Zoom, and I hummed it quietly to myself as I sat in my little room by myself in a very, very sad Shabbos Shira. Now, Baruch Hashem, this is the fourth Shabbos Shira show that we're having. And as it happens, in the 3.5 years of the Rabbi Orlofsky Show, the show with the Waterbury boys was the highest rated show. And, I make this look incredibly easy. Part of that is the fact that I'm so incredibly talented. Part of that is just, the fact that I'm in the business many, many years. In fact, when we're filming this, it happens to be my birthday. And, You win the whole surprise. I'm sorry. I'm 63 years old, which in Gematria is SAG, because everything starts to sag. Thank you very much. That wasn't meant for an applause line, but I'll take it. That's pretty good, because you could also read it backwards as gas, and I think there's something to be said for that as well. But in any event, you get old, so you have a little bit more experience, so it's easier. But people don't realize when you come onto this set, it is a challenge, and almost everyone who has been here has said, "Gee, I would like to do it again and do it a little differently, etc." And so this is, I would say, the first repeat performance or appearance that we've ever had on the Rabbi Orlofsky Show. So before we go any further, I'm going to ask right away our special guests to offer us a special performance of one of their special songs, and then we'll pick up from there.
So this song is called Uvinei by Waterbury Mesivta, composed by Benny Stein and Gavra Reichman. Gorgeous song.
For you help me rise in a room
Beautiful, the gift of music. Before we do our sponsorship, I just want to give a shout out to a good friend of the Rabbi Orlofsky show, Ari Razna, who got us a new Rabbi Orlofsky show mug with the new logo. If you didn't notice, we have changed the logo. And so this mug reflects the new logo, which, by the way, is going to be used now in various Rabbi Orlofsky show merch. Okay.
Let's go.
Along with pictures of all of the Waterbury guys.
I'll take that.
Why would you want pictures of the Waterbury guys? Well, that brings us to our sponsorship. We're sponsored by the Chicago Chesed Fund in honor of their 5th annual Shas for Shidduchim campaign. And if you sign up, you get any one of them. Just kidding. Anyway. I'm just kidding. You can get two. But anyway. We all know singles who have been struggling in the shidduch world. Maybe that single is you. Maybe not. Anyway, there are plenty who are. Trust me. Oh, you hear the stories all the time. Such a difficult thing.
Yeah.
As a community bound together by Torah values, we would do anything to help ourselves and each other through what can be a very difficult parsha. It definitely is. I never got a second date with anybody, including my wife. What if I told you that there was a powerful way to do that? All you need is the right schus. Shas for Shidduchim at shas4shidduchim, that's the number 4.org, is a national initiative of the Chicago Chesed Fund that gives singles, along with their friends or family members, an impactful way to generate Shidduchim. This Tu B'Shvat, on Monday, January 17th, Mamish, it's here already. Tu B'Shvat Igia. That's great. Okay.
I thought we were like trying to like.
Yes, the musical wonder continues. January 17th, hundreds of Lomdim will complete all of Shas in 24 hours as a schus for Klal Yisrael's singles. While you're sitting there eating dried fruit, they will be learning Shas as a schus. According to the Ben Ish Chai, Tu B'Shvat is just like Tu B'Av in the sense that it is a tremendous segula for singles looking to find their perfect match. What better way to reinforce this segula than with the Limud HaTorah and Staka? Go to shas4shidduchim.org to sponsor a daf on behalf of yourself or up to 5 singles that you know, so you can help harness the immense power of Tu B'Shvat, Staka, and Limud HaTorah all coming together. Yeah? In their schus. And people should be able to find their shidduch. So you imagine, mitzvah tzedakah is matzah min hamavis, right? And Limud HaTorah, the entire world exists only for Limud HaTorah. And it says a person doesn't get married, he lives without Torah. He doesn't have Torah. Yeah. Putting it all together with the power of Tu B'Shvat. Tu B'Shvat is, of course, like Tu B'Av because it's exactly 6 months apart. And Tu B'Shvat is planting in the frozen earth to be able to get the fruits and peros that will continually daras. So it's such an amazing thing. All proceeds will directly support Chicago Chesed Fund's many related services that facilitate Shidduchim year-round, including consistent proactive outreach to their extensive Shadchanim network on behalf of singles. That was probably one of the hardest sentences I've ever read in my entire life. I would rather say out the full expression for DNA than to have to do that one again. Let me try it again. Including consistent, proactive outreach to their extensive Shadchanim network on behalf of singles. Shidduch events and coaching. That's easier. Shaitels and wedding gowns for new collars and their families and more. Now, who in their family is also wearing a wedding gown and a sheitel? I don't want to get into that because that's too problematic today. In any event, all joking aside, this is such a tremendous chus, and they've sponsored with us for a number of years because so many people who watch the Rabbi Orlofsky show have shown their support. And this is not just something that we're doing for them, it's something we're doing for ourselves. And listen, if you see a single person who doesn't have a shidduch, and you think that's not my problem, well, that's a chisaron in your avos yisrael. If that person's not married, and that person doesn't get to build a bayis neman b'Yisrael, and that person doesn't get to have children, yeah, that's my problem. That's not just their problem, that's my problem. And you have to, when a chassan comes to shul, we don't say tachnan. You know why? Because it's a simcha for everybody that they're building bayis neman b'Yisrael. This is a tremendous chus. Secure your chus at shasforshidduchim.org. Okay, so I want to start by introducing our special guest for this Shabbos. I'm going to start with my son, Moshe Yehuda Orlofsky, known to the world for reasons that are unclear to me to this point as Moyo. I never called him Moyo. I always called him Moshe Yehuda because he was named for my father, whose 25th yurtzeit is going to be Yud Zayin Shvat. This is 25 years. And when I had a daughter and I had another daughter, and then I had a son, and he said to me, look, I had the chance to be Sandik, your father-in-law never had a chance to be Sandik. Give it to him and I'll take the next one. And then I had another girl, 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 and then he passed away. And I had another girl first. In fact, by that point, he was very sick. And he said that he had made arrangements to be medevac to Israel so that he could be Sandik. So he didn't make it. So then, after he passed away, I had another girl. And then I had a boy. And it's a little tricky because my father is Moshe Yehuda, and my father-in-law is Moshe Chaim. So I asked Rishus if I could name for my father. He said, yeah, just don't call him Moshe. They call me Moshe, so just don't call him Moshe. So I was always careful to call him Moshe Yehuda. And my family felt that was too long a name for somebody so small. And so they condensed it to Moyo. They tried a couple of different things. And so most people refer to him as Moyo. I always call him Moshe Yehuda because that's his name. Call me crazy. Anyway, that's it. And by the way, I then had another boy, and I told my father-in-law, because you were so nice, I'll let you pick the name. And so my youngest son, Norbert, will... just kidding. Anyway. Okay, so Moshe Yehuda, it's good to have you back.
Yeah, it's great to be back. It's funny, you mentioned Grandpa. So I never had the chus to meet Grandpa.
Yeah, that would have been awkward.
Yeah. Grandpa was left there, like 20 years ago, something like that?
25 years.
25, you just said that, correct. And one of the things I got from Grandpa was memory loss, actually.
You know what that's like? Anyway, yeah, go ahead.
I saw it coming.
From the time I can remember, most of the people that he knew was named the guy. What's his name? It was always playing charades every time he spoke. Anyway, yeah.
It's actually funny. I was telling someone yesterday that I'm named Moshe Yehuda ben Rav Dovid Tzvi ben Moshe Yehuda ben Dovid Tzvi, right?
No, nothing.
A lot of men.
Oh my gosh.
You're Moshe Yehuda ben Dovid Tzvi Hirsch, ben Moshe Yehuda, ben Tzvi Meir, ben Moshe Yehuda.
Oh, so there's a Tzvi in there. Okay, fine. So basically I'm named to Moshe Yehuda ben Dovid Tzvi ben Moshe Yehuda, which makes sense. And that's really irrelevant. Really what I want to speak about is... Anyway, it's really, really good to be back on the show. I'm super excited. 2 years ago, it's been a long time. We've been through COVID since then. We've been through all sorts of like stuff. Delta variant. We've been through the Omicron. You know what I'm saying? We've been through a lot. I actually had the Omicron.
This is the first time we're having guests since COVID.
Really?
Yeah. That's completely true. When I was doing it on Zoom, so we did a Purim one with Yaakov and Shlomo.
Right.
You know, all of us huddled together for the middle of the thing, and I looked like I was being held hostage. Anyway.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's really nice to be here.
Wonderful. And with you is?
Shlomo Sonenberg from Baltimore. I'm named also after my great-great-grandfather's yard site's not coming up, but that's the fun fact for now.
All right.
And he produced Thank You Mommy.
I produced Thank You Mommy.
Yeah. Let's go.
So go out there and support and thank your mommy.
Let's go.
For those of you who don't appreciate it, I had I mentioned on the show and I put up on the website, it's still there, Moshe Yehuda composed a song in honor of my wife's birthday called We Love Waterbury. I don't know. I couldn't remember. Of course not.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Thank you, Rabbi.
And so that was very exciting. So he composed it. He produced it. Very nice. And
Eli Dachs, and I'm not named after any grandfather, but I am named after Eli Navi, which is pretty cool. I thought I could add that. Nice. Didn't do anything like I'm like.
this is your first podcast.
I'm not the best at this, but we're gonna try this.
Listen,
it's a new experience.
it's very exciting. There's nothing to be nervous about. Everybody's watching you now
Yeah.
and deciding, should I consider this guy?
Whoa.
You went there.
Yeah, he did.
But don't worry.
This is a safe place.
And finally, returning.
Dovid Edell from Rockaway, and I've been here before.
Zip code?
I have too.
And street address, house number.
You know, people ask me, do you believe in reincarnation? And I say, in my last life, I didn't. But since then, I've been coming around to the idea. So I find this fascinating from the last time you guys were on the show because the reaction we got was tremendous, obviously, because of just the tremendous amount of talent playing and singing and composing. And I'm reminded of a story that I heard many years ago. A guy was in Berlin, and he asked Rav Hutner if he could play at Chassidus. And he said to him, it's not a good life for a yeshiva bacher because you're out late at night and you have trouble getting up in the morning afterwards, and you know. But do you feel that you have talent? He says, yeah, I have talent singing and playing and composing. He says, then you always have to find the best teacher to make sure that you continue to develop this. Because if a Kodesh Baruch Hu gave you a koyach, you're mechuyev to use it. I'll tell you an unbelievable idea. Reuven and Gad, they say, we can't go into Eretz Yisrael, we have lots of cows. So ask Rabbi Isaac Share, so shecht them. No problem. Make a big barbecue, you know, on the range, invite all of Klal Yisrael, eat up all the cows, and now go into Eretz Yisrael. You're going to give up Eretz Yisrael because you have a lot of cows? And the answer is, he says, if a Kodesh Baruch Hu gives you something, you're not allowed to waste it. You can't just throw it away. Kodesh Baruch Hu gave you all these cows. He wants you to be a herder. You know, so it's something that Kodesh Baruch Hu sends you away, and if you have a talent, that the Kodesh Baruch Hu wants you to develop it. The question is, has that situation changed in Klal Yisrael? Are people discouraged now from developing natural talents, whether it's in music or it's in art or it's in performance or anything else?
Amazing. Wow. I really, really like that. I really like that topic.
Question.
Great question.
Yeah, I'm saying, so you mentioned that. So Rabbi Kalish is very into like this idea. And
Rabbi Kalish is the Shiva of Waterbury
right, is that Rabbi?
High School. Actually, what's the official name?
Sivta Tereshmol. No, so this idea of like embracing and like expressing talent within like the frum world, as a guy, meaning girls, I think, do have more opportunity in this area and it makes sense because like it became like more of a girly thing to be like good at art and stuff like that. So they'll have like a play and a show and stuff like that. And guys, it's something the average yeshiva won't. And something Rabbi Kiel is very into is he's very into like sports and he's very into music. And there's a guy actually that no one ever knew he could draw. He came to Waterbury and like 2 months later, the guy's like drawing up the coolest, like just like amazing different type of art. And yesterday I was talking to my Rabbi about this idea in Emre, and he brought in a very cool idea. He said that he always thought that the reason Rabbi Kilish is so into all these different like side outlets and he invests so much in it is so the guy will get good association with Yiddishkeit through that, and then he'll come to the Beis Medrash and do the real big boy thing of learning Torah. And he said recently, he understands it completely different and a deeper way, and it's not true because Hashem gives someone a talent. With any talent that God gives someone, you could serve Hashem with that talent. Meaning a basketball game could be just a basketball, you're just hooping around. Or it could be that like I'm working on my midas, I'm working on my competitive like side. Like we're going to stop the game to pick up a yarmulke. That's why yeshivish. I'm sorry,
Yeah,
but
sure.
like
Sure.
this idea of like taking the talent, that's like Kabbalah Hashem Me'ayincha type of idea, and take it like I'm very into that. It's just like it's a very broad topic too.
When I toured Ner Sameach, I had a guy who came and asked me a question. They wanted him to be in the Purim play. They didn't do a spiel. They did a play. It was a real
Real deal.
performance. You know, it was some of the most amazing things because they had people who actually had been in the entertainment field. You know, in Ner Sameach. And this guy said to me, "They want me to be in the play. I'm going to have to spend a lot of time in rehearsal. Can I justify the Bittul Torah?" I said, 100%. It's a Purim spiel has such a power in the frum community, in the yeshiva. It brings achdus and it's social criticism. I mentioned this, of course, in the kichels. You know how when you read a comic strip, you can say things that you can't say. You know, normally the same thing in a Purim play. You know, you can say things that you can't say
Imitate their band.
normal context. You know, listen. Imitation is the finest form of flattery. I mean, when I was in yeshivas and they used to imitate me, I loved it because you get to see insights that you never realize. One year they do me in the Purim play. I'm sitting there talking. I'm like, and then I stop and I go like this, and everyone laughed. And I was like, "What's that?" And the guy did it like 3 or 4 times. I said, "What's that?" He goes, "Rebbe, you do that all the time." I said, "I never do that." You know. Anyway, the next time I said, "Point it out to me." So I was in Shia, I was doing the whole thing, and then I stopped and I went like this. And they said, "See?" I said, "Oh, now I understand." I said, "Because there is a method to the madness." And I try to throw in enough, humor and fun to get the point across, but not so much that it should be Kalas Rosh. So I try to stop. But I never realized that about myself. You see it in yourself. So a person who's upset by an impersonation, I think on some level they're just afraid to see themselves.
Sharp.
Whoa.
That's sharp.
But I always had a taiva to make my own Purim play with just men,
That would be a lot of fun.
with songs and this and that,
A
and
lot of
because I think
Where
it's
can I
a
sign
tremendous chizik. But
Where can I sign up?
Start with
I have 3 different what do you call it, scripts that I wanted to develop, but I just don't know,
And we'll make it time after.
I keep trying to pretend that I'm a real rabbi, and I feel like if I do a big play production, I think it might take it away.
We fell for it.
One second, give me a second, because I don't know if I should do it. Anyway, yeah, it's a problem.
Moyo said it very, very good, and I would just add that anytime that Hashem makes us, you're saying, as a person with talents, and we have many different aspects of us, and every once in a while, it's for a guy to show what his gifts are, and to put it on a stage, put him up there, put him in front of guys, and to be out there and express. And it's an opportunity in Kavod Hashem Ha'incha, but also like when friends get to, it's an exercise where people get to appreciate and laugh and enjoy with their friends and enjoy and then appreciate the gifts that they have, appreciate what Hashem's given them. I think that's very powerful.
Wow, amazing.
Yeah. I think the world nowadays is getting more open to these type of things, especially in a place like Waterbury.
You know what? The problem is when you talk about the world, things are dividing so much.
What do you mean?
People are either moving to the right or they're moving to the left, but trying to maintain that balance, it's very harder. So in the real, there's certain circles in Klal Yisrael where the guiding principle is pasnish. Pasnish. Shiva Bacha doesn't do that. Shiva Bacha doesn't do that. Shiva that. And you try to close it in more and more and more. I just did a whole tefillah series on the podcast, and I just want to read next episode. I want to read some of the letters that I got. It's amazing how many people said that they felt like their chinuch discouraged them from davening. It was like, just So it's a problem. So there is within society a certain aspect where people realize it's not working. There are certain things in the way things are set up that aren't working, and other people do. Their response to that is to double down and make it more intense, and try to clamp down harder.
I think some of us can relate to that. Maybe
It's a big problem because, look, I went to Chavetz Chaim, and Rav Henech Leibowitz. I heard this story when I was in yeshiva, so it was making the rounds. I hope I'm not pogain anybody's covered. Rishaya Cohen, have you heard Rishaya Cohen? Yeah, Priority One.
Broadway.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Rishaya Cohen, he's tremendous Talmid. He's unbelievable, Adam Gadol. Yeah. And he wanted to come to Chavetz Chaim, and his parents were afraid to let him go to this yeshiva. So his parents told the Rosh Yeshiva, "We'll let him come if every Sunday he can come home and watch TV with us."
Wow.
What would they say today?
Interesting.
We can't have such a boy in our yeshiva. Rosh Yeshiva said, "Of course, I can get a guy for 6.5 days, and all I have to do is pay a couple hours. He should go home and watch TV." So, but you have to be big enough that you understand, how the world works. We'd have a Simchas Shoeva, and Baruch Che would be playing the guitar, and his father, Moshe Che, would be playing the harmonica. There was a feeling to encourage people to be able to use their talents, and I feel like in certain circles in Klal Yisrael that's being stifled. How many times do you ever hear where a boy says this or that, and the Rebbe says, just learn.
That's all I think.
That's yeah. I wanted to add that personally, like growing up, like it's in the Yiddishkeit world, it's a lot of Torah, which is an amazing thing, and sometimes not every kid is amazing at learning, and a lot of times doesn't have a lot to like look at himself and be like, oh, I'm so good at this, and that's where he picks up, let's say, music or something else, and I think that when it comes into like the Jewish world and like we appreciate people's other talents more, it gives them more. I feel like self-love because he just feels like he's struggling in learning and like he's like I don't know like what I am now, like I feel like I can't, but really he just needs more like self-confidence.
And he connects to that, by the way, to the other talents. Like I must not be good at other things too.
Right.
I'm good at this.
Exactly. Right. No, that's a good point. It's like I'm not good.
I experienced this myself because I have so many learning disabilities. I haven't even identified them all. Every time they find a new one, I have it. And dyslexia and ADD and focusing and all kinds of problems. And I was never really successful at learning. And in order to overcome it, it takes a tremendous amount of confidence. And I didn't have any confidence, and I wasn't getting it from the people around me. They just said, if you cared, you would try harder. Now, no one knew what learning disabilities were. They just said, he's lazy, he doesn't try, he doesn't care, he doesn't... I cared terribly, but I just couldn't. You look at the page, and it's out of focus, and it's just words and words. In Aramaic with no punctuation and no vocalization and no anything. It's just like...
I'm sure you tried very hard.
I tried. I kept failing over and over again.
They kept telling you.
And so eventually I went into NCSY and I became a legend, basically.
I tested positive for being a legend.
I started in LA. In LA, I wasn't a legend. I was an actual god. I could have started my own religion. It was LA in the '70s. I mean, I
respect your
I could have made myself. I could have made myself my own little compound and stuff, you know what I mean? But anyway, I didn't have enough motivation to become a god. Anyway, so
at least you understand yourself.
So, yeah, listen, that's why when I moved back to Long Island, it was great because there, they don't have that same sense of awe that they have in L.A. It's like, excuse me. So that was good. It brings you back down. Brings you back down to life. You know what I mean? But when I had the confidence, then I was able to go back and I was able to face it. But a kid who doesn't have that confidence and doesn't feel like he's successful, so then what happens? He falls by the wayside.
Yeah.
It's not a cutesy thing either. There was music in the Beis Hamikdash. That was like a very real thing that they did. David HaMelech created the Hotel and
David.
Oh yeah, I wasn't thinking that, but it's not like a cutesy
Were you that
tool to
sure?
let a guy do well. It's like there's real.
Zoya Kodesh says that the Shari Nagina are next to the Shari Tshuba, and the I think it's the Mata Ephraim. He says the nigunim that we use on Yom Kippur or the Yom Narayim have the ability to be ma'ira us to tshuva. The music itself, it can move you, and you know that you can listen to music. I want to talk about music in a second, but maybe let's do a song.
Yeah. So actually, this song I'm about to sing.
I want to talk about music next.
Yeah. So this song I'm about to sing is a song that because it's not a release song. It's called Kirvas, Elokim, which just happens to be my favorite pasuk. And it probably won't be your favorite pasuk, I would assume.
There's a lot of dry terrors about it.
I have a lot to say about Vani Vasakom the Taiv. I would say that
2 years from now, the next time we get on the show, you'll.
I'll say my 15th track.
Yeah.
But no, this is something that Michoel is very into. And Vani Vasakom really represents, I think, a lot about this. It's when you're close to Hashem, like things are good, but not just good, like nice, like.
How's
like,
Michoel say?
Okay. Speaking of imitations, I don't know if we should do it as we're speaking about it.
Oh,
It's not a firm spell. No, but
Moshe Yehuda has a ways. You can put different voices. He has a Rabbi Kalish.
so
You're going straight. You're doing great.
Turn around.
Turn around. You're going the wrong way.
Keep going. Don't stop.
Don't
ever.
stop.
Oh yeah, you're doing great. I love to hear
this
that.
relationship on the left.
Connections on the right.
But so this song really represents a lot about this idea. And close to Hashem.
Merge onto the highway. Merge.
It's the essence of all God. But yeah, so let's do it.
All right.
It's a beautiful song also. We should get it released.
Shout out Yosef Shek.
Shout out Yosef Shek for writing the song. Beautiful song.
The Shek family, by the way, are so talented and composed a lot of songs. Mesivta should be coming out. They have a lot of really awesome songs coming out.
They also make great Pesach cake.
Right.
Right.
That's his.
Is it actually the family?
No, they're related.
No, I'm just kidding.
No, one of them's a caterer.
Yeah, the father.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but that's different. Yeah, that's.
I think they're all related.
That was the joke. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
na 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 na
guys are in Rabina now.
Yeah.
So like you spend a lot of time like singing and playing instruments and stuff.
Of course.
No, I mean, mainly Torah. So we make a little bit of time for music.
Yeah, because it's like it's very margish. It's very an emotional kind of a thing that has tremendous power. You know?
100%.
When I was in yeshiva, the mashkiach Rabbi Knerik Zatzal, he had a niggin. He always used to sing while he was learning. You know, it was just. I don't know what the original niggin was, etc. But he was always.
Let's do it. 1, 2, 3, go.
Yeah, it wasn't really that kind of a song. Sometimes I personally can find it a little disturbing when you're sitting there trying to learn. The guy behind you is doing a concert, you know.
I do that every day. I do it every day. No, but I have a good reason why. Because it gets me into learning.
Not me. It doesn't get me into
I do every day.
That's what he tells him.
I get the whole bass. The whole bass is mamish pumping. And I know it gets me ready, and then I just learn for now.
And then he asked me why I don't want to come back to me next year.
No, dude, it's not you, it's me.
Exactly.
I will sometimes sing when I'm thinking, but I don't even want to do the tune. But there was the guys were listening to some kind of a song. I don't get stuck in your head. You know, sometimes you get a song stuck in your head and you can't get it out.
Yeah, all the time.
You know, and I started singing this song, and the guys come up to me and say, "Rabbi, you don't want to sing that." I won't tell you what the song was, but
Oh no!
Rabbi Orlofsky, I want to tell you.
it wasn't like that. The words were much.
You were
the nigging
contemplating,
was
you were
very
thinking
nice, but
about
the
it.
words are horrible, and I didn't know because I never heard the song. I just heard the tune, people singing.
I never either heard the words.
Was it a Yiddish song?
I don't want to say what the name of the song was, but the nigging was 9999999999999. Anyway, it's a horrible.
Isn't that about
It might be, but that's not where. When they came over to me and told me what the actual words were, I was surprised. Yeah, but of course, you know, sometimes with music you can't always tell. You know, who is it who wrote that song when his kid died? Because I know da up in heaven. Was it James Taylor maybe or something like that? That is a beautiful niggin. It's a beautiful niggin, but it's
Right.
So it's, with music becomes very tricky.
Right.
You know, I mean, you hear music sometimes, but there's nothing about it that's Jewish. You know.
David, that's exactly what you're saying.
Yeah.
We were talking about this a few days ago.
Yeah, I'm saying sometimes you could hear a Jewish song that's not Jewish, and a not Jewish song that's very much Jewish.
That's what I'm saying.
That's
The
all
song
they
over here where he wrote this song about his kid who died, it was so moving and so beautiful, you know. But
Right.
It's like, shoots, I wish he was Jewish.
We lost one. Oh man!
someone told me that Shimon Schwab had told his family they should listen to classical music because it's closer to Jewish music than contemporary Jewish music.
Wow.
And that's when he goes.
And I asked somebody how that could possibly be, and someone explained to me, I don't know enough about music to tell you this, that classical music came out of the Gregorian chants, which were taken from the nigunim in the Beis HaMikdash.
Whoa.
That's what they say.
It all starts.
So that there's,
That's wild.
it's complex and it's on a very high level, and you know, it's. And Moshe Shapiro said that he heard from Reb Dessler that classical music has a certain power to it, that you know, as opposed to certain songs that are just like, you know. Now sometimes the nigga might be nice, and it's just the orchestration, you know, when you have you know, all the reverb and the little kids screaming out. Boom, 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 boom. You know, it's like, okay, I get it, but
Yeah.
You know, they asked us to be the next Chevra.
Yeah.
Actually, when you mentioned this song,
It's actually very
we did a
well.
Waterbury concert with Abraham Berg and Mordechai Ben David in Brooklyn a few years ago. So when we met with Eli Gerson, they asked us to be the next Chevra, and we we couldn't do it. But now that you say this, I don't know if we should do it.
it could be. Listen, sometimes it's so interesting because I did this routine. This routine is at least 30 years old, maybe 40 years old. I don't remember how long it was. But you remember Miami had a song, B'siyata D'Shmaya? Da 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 da. Da 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 na 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 na, and it sounded so familiar to me, and then I realized there was another song that came out around the same time that went like this. Na 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 da 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 di di da 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 di di da 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 di di da na 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 Dishemaya. Anyway, it's
We can leave, by the way.
coincidence? I think not.
I've seen it.
So it's like, you don't even realize sometimes where this songs are coming from. Now, I heard a story years ago. I don't know if it's true. I'm not Pesach Kron. I don't check these things out. But I heard a story about this Rabbi who heard this niggin in the street, and he thought it was really nice. But the next tish he used it. He didn't know what the tune was. And, so it's a tricky thing with music.
Rabbi Kirvas, actually, so there's a song by Waterbury Mesivta that's a cover of a non-Jewish song by Jordan Smith, and it's called Only Love. And this is like at the peak of COVID, when everyone's like locked in their homes, like serious uncertainty, and everyone's like very just like not sure what to do, right? And the song like just it came out a few years ago, but it went viral again around then. And the words are like, "Only love can save us now, keep the world from burning down." Like just like a super positive message. Like you could find psukim to all these stuff, obviously. And Rabbi Kirvas was like, "We're Megaya the song," and we sang it, and they put it out. It's on the Waterbury Mesivta page, and from like I think that's like a big example of like how we could
saying before,
right. We could take a message. And it actually ties into another like cool idea of like why are people running to non-Jewish music? Why is Jewish music not providing what Jews are looking for as much? And if Jews are looking for more upbeat music, and that's why I love that Mordechai Shapiro is doing what he's doing, because maybe now a lot of people aren't listening to Bruno Mars. Bruno Mars is great, but Mordechai Shapiro is better.
Right, but that's what they argued about with the Chevra. They said this is because it was a time of all the boys bands that were going around and what do you call it? Was it Boys on the Block and
he's talking about
these kind of things, the Gershon ones. So they say, so it's like it's like a methadone clinic. You know what I mean?
Right.
Listen to this, and it sounds like the same Gershon music, only it's Jewish.
Right. No. So a big thing I think Rabbi Kirvas was very into was, and I think a lot of people are getting more into this now, is Rabbi Kirvas actually said he said a vart about it. He said v'sen chelkeinu v'zerasecha means my chelek, not just. We say zek keli vanveo. Why not kelenu? We say this is my Hashem. V'sen chelkeinu chelki. I have my. And he encourages people to have guys to have their favorite pasuk and write English words to the pasuk, because you hear a song a lot of times I don't know what this pasuk means. The tune's okay. What if there was English lyrics? That's why Uvinei, by the way, it's there's expression in the English, and then it connects to the high, and there's a big Indian in sticking in your bring it, make it yours. Say your words. You do that.
I always felt that way about Someday. It's an old song. Someday we will all be together. Someday we'll be. The words to me, I find it very meaningful.
So Kirvas is very into that also. He's very into real. Why he loved when guys would say Rabbi, I wrote a song. he was like, show me, because just seeing a guy express his heart into a song and realness, and I think, I guess everyone here, like everyone who's sitting next to me, like is trying to do with their music is trying to just bring realness, and that's what I think Yiddish music, I guess, needs that more. Just it needs connection. It needs to like talk to someone.
So why did Lipa get into so much trouble? I don't think that was the song that got him in trouble. It was The Lion Sleeps Tonight that for some reason just pushed everybody over the edge. I don't know why. On the first Vegas album, they have a song. Oji Shama Be'arei Yehuda Uvechutzos Yerushalayim Kol Sasan V'Kol Simcha Kol Sachan V'Kol Kala Kol Sasan V'Kol Simcha You know what that is?
Yeah, I heard it.
What do you do with the drunken sailor? What do you do with the drunken sailor? What do you do with the drunken sailor early in the morning? Hey yo, hey yo, right? And nobody got upset, but and there's been so many versions of people using these kind
Misha
of
Nasadar is the famous one.
Which?
Misha Nasadar. Misha.
Yeah,
That's
for
the
sure.
famous one.
What do you mean famous one?
What is it for?
That's not a Jewish
No,
song.
but that's
My
different
childhood.
That's different because that's
What?
no, that's different because that's a Purim song.
That's not.
And it meets all the qualifications of a Purim song in that it is incredibly annoying.
What's the words?
Every Purim song has to be annoying. V'gam, 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 Charvona, Zachor Latov, v'gam, 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 v'gam. So that's a pretty annoying tune. So it's okay because it's for Purim.
Give me money.
You know,
It's also connected. It's association.
but people don't even know this, right? And after the 6 Day War, there were all these Israeli songs that came out, like, you know, Yerushalayim Shel Zahav, right? You know, these kind of things.
Right.
One of them was Sharm el Sheikh. Oh, Sharm el Sheikh. Na 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 na. It's a goyish. It was a secular Israeli song, and you hear people belt it out to Adon Olam. Adon Olam.
It's gorgeous.
That's one of my favorite
songs.
Okay, Ken Zayn, but I'm just saying, what, you know, now why was that okay? So, okay, maybe we could just say it feels Jewish, you know?
It has to be there's a mikdash.
I was at places where they did Draw Yikra at the Scarborough Fair by Simon Garfunkel. Draw Yikra Levain in Vas in Zachem Kemal Bavam. That's a Simon Garfunkel song. I'm going to Scarborough Fair, parsley, sage, rosemary, and thyme. Anyway, now I heard, and I never checked this out, because like I said, not Pesach Kron, I don't care. I just say whatever I hear, that he said that he got that tune from his grandfather who wrote it to Draw Yikra.
Oh, interesting.
Okay, but Simon Garfunkel is Jewish, you could say. Maybe it's like Jewish. I don't know.
Yeah, it's certain, listen, there's no question that certain songs are considered more Jewish.
Songs
you know.
sound
Just
Jewish.
as a
Song could
Jewish
feel
song, yeah.
Jewish, sound Jewish. You know.
You know?
Just gotta hit.
Yeah, but there are like certain songs like to me don't sound Jewish at all. Sos tosis v'sagel ha'akara.
Jewish sounding.
There he goes, and walking down the street, and it's just like this 70s pop sound to it. It doesn't sound Jewish at all.
Why? It's a new Jewish sound.
New Jewish sound.
different
Yeah, it's called
generation.
Goyish. That's a
No.
new Jewish sound.
No, so that you were saying this also.
So what makes it
We're all
Yiddish
talking about
then?
this.
Like what makes it a Jewish?
I can't figure that out. I asked somebody once how you magdir it, and they said it's not the tune, it's the orchestration.
The message.
The mess.
For example, there was I think it was Shlomo Dachs. I think I'm trying to remember.
I thought cousin.
I think so. You'll tell me. Yeah.
Shout out to Dovid Edell.
Nafshi sarog eilecha.
So I was his cousin and
Ki eilecha, nafshi sarog, nafshi sarog eilecha. It's nice thinking. And then it goes, you know, and he's like 3 Hasidim with guitars going, you know, and I feel like it kills the effect of what could have otherwise been a nice.
You sure you still want to shout out to your third cousin?
Yeah.
No, so,
I do.
so that's a good point.
So I don't know how what defines within the music itself.
Right.
That's the
So
feel.
that's why like if first of all I want to go back to what you said before, how you had a certain tune in your head. Like there's a guy, I had a friend of mine who, there's certain times where if you're in a public atmosphere, for us it was high school, he decided like he wanted to get everyone to sing a certain song. So you'd go to different parts of the base medrash and go to this hum this tune, go hum this tune. And by then it's swirling on this because like, oh, why did I hear the song? Because like it just goes in. You hear it going, oh, okay, now everyone's hearing that tune. That's first thing I would say. But if you look and going back to Levani Kirvas Elokim and everyone's personally attaching to what talks to them, which you see more in the days like. The old in the 90s, the 70s, the 80s, a lot of songs were about like the theme about Mashiach, about like any concept of we wanting Mashiach, or they sing a lot about Eretz Yisrael. Someday was a good example you brought, but that was like a unique thing of its kind. And if you look how the revolution of how Jewish music like comes about, there's usually like in the past, like when I was younger, it was like one song an album would like had maybe an English song. Now you'll see like a few in an album. You'll see like most Abraham came on. He started that trend. But even then, it was like people were very skeptical. But clearly the as the generation like moves on, things are moving on, and people have not that there's a lot of.
It's one of the most beautiful songs that was ever written, right. And it's written dafka in English.
Sure.
You know, as far as I'm concerned, that made Shrek his career. That's what I think. Because he was okay before then.
Not
but
that
he's
an
song,
amazing singer. He's not an amazing singer, right?
You know what? Okay. I don't. Is he that much better than Dovid Edell?
Wow, now we're having a debate over here. It's a political debate.
I don't know. It's Mazel.
Yeah.
It's Mazel.
And he's incredible.
I know people give a Daf Yomi Shir. They have thousands and thousands of people listening to it. I have a Daf Yomi Shir I give every day. I have 6 people. You know?
If you want, we could.
It's Mazel. It's Mazel. There's no question it's Mazel. There are certain people who aren't necessarily better singers than anybody else, but they have Mazel, and other people don't have Mazel. I don't know why.
It's
like Kodesh Baruch Hu wants this person out there to do this, and somebody else not.
That's the answer.
Rav Moshe Shapiro was never successful at starting yeshiva. Every yeshiva that he started, it never took off. You know? And it's because the Kodesh Baruch Hu wanted him to be available for Klal Yisrael. And so that's what I think. I mean, I'm giving my own interpretation, but I've heard it from other people. You know that he gave like 40 shirim a week to all kinds of different places, all kinds of different things. And if he had a yeshiva, that would be his Rosh Hashanah would be in that yeshiva. So I don't know how these things work, but I don't know that it's just a question of that. I think there's certain songs and certain people that are just matzliach.
Yeah.
You know.
Right, you're sitting next to one of them. That's also true.
David!
Which one are we talking about? The Tati King one? Yeah, we did that one the last time.
Yeah.
It's very popular.
But if you look at songs like Tati My King, or there's more and more, and we see more and more in the Jewish industry, there's so much more English than has ever been before. And it's that what a lot of people are, and this is something our Rabbi Kish, especially a lot of people are looking just for something to, not that Eretz Yisrael is bad, not that Eretz Yisrael is definitely is very kaddish, but people are connecting to other things, let's say, with an English concept before they're addressing Mashiach, before they're addressing the Jewish Eretz Yisrael, and people are just expressing how they want to connect to Hashem, and like we enjoyed seeing many everybody's trying to. Now we see a new trend. There's a new trend going on right now that like even a niggin used to be words strictly Hebrew. People are putting out songs of Nayach was a big sound, making like a niggin sound, but to English words, and so much more we see. It's because people want what's connected to them.
Right. Well, back in Europe, there were plenty of songs that were written in Yiddish that people were able to relate to.
Hasidim are killing it right now. Just like
Hasidim music.
I can't imagine that song being in Hebrew or
But they were probably very into it in those days.
I'm still into it. And I don't even speak Yiddish. But
okay,
it's a beautiful song.
Maybe that's just you. I don't know.
There were a whole bunch of these,
Hasidish music is very back in now, like big time. They're taking over, and Shweki put out a Hasidish medley, and like a lot of guys, like they're calling it the Heimish playlist.
You know why? There's so many of them. So obviously
really
you
talented.
create your own market,
Market, yeah.
you know,
But they're really talented.
and people don't appreciate this because, you know, I spoke to his fellow. His father was a Rebbe, and I said to him, you know, you had a family business. Why didn't you become a Rebbe? You know, like, you know, you could have taken over. Because he said to me, "Do I look like a Rebbe?" he didn't want to go that way, but he says, you look at the Hasidus today. You think that's what it was? He says the Bava Rebbe came, he had nobody. You know, the Ger Rebbe came there, so he had nobody. These people showed up with nothing. The Belzer Rebbe came with nothing. And they built it into these enormous Hasidus. It's such a tremendous accomplishment. It's mind-boggling what they were able to accomplish and build Hasidus into what it is today.
Yeah.
You know. So yeah, they have their own music. They can do anything they want. You know, when you have that big a market. Well, Rabbi said I could do this for hours, and it certainly is such fascinating topics that we have to discuss. We'll have to have you guys back, but let's do one last song, and then on the show we added this segment where we do answer questions from the listeners. So I'm gonna have to take a couple of questions, and that's it. So what can I tell you, Rabbi? I thank you so much for being here. This was such a celebration. Shabbos Shira. Shira is a lashon of shleimus, right? As opposed to a zemer. Zamer says the Magen Avram says psuki de zimra is because zamer can also mean to trim a tree, to prune. Zamer. He says psuki de zimra is to remove all the other machshavas so that then you finish with oz yashir. Shira is shleimus. That's why they didn't sing Shira when they came out of Mitzrayim. Only until they saw Mitzrayim dead and they knew that the story was over did they sing a Shira. So Shabbos Shira, this is the music gives that shleimus to our Avodas Hashem.
Amazing. So this song we're going to sing is actually a gorgeous song about the words Avos Chatasim and Elokim. And Penny Schechter put English words to them. Just going to have the dark topic. But before that, we have actually a little gift for Mommy. And it goes like this.
Thank you, Mommy, for all that you did, for the late night talk, the love and the care, to see good in ourselves like you always did. It's something you taught us since we were all kids. Thank you, Mommy, for all that you share, for the late night talks, and the love that began, to see good in ourselves like you always did. It's something you taught us since we were all kids. Thank you, Mommy.
Thank you, Mom.
Yeah, since it's my birthday,
Thank you, Abba, for all the bad dreams, for all of the smacks, and all of the screams. Thank you, Abba, for all that you did. The love and the care, to see good in ourselves like you always did. It's something you taught us since we were all kids. Thank you, Abba, for writing this song, 'cause you always tell us that we are wrong. It's gone on for years, and we've had a loss because of all the therapy course.
Wow! You are a natural songwriter.
I am so talented. Why don't I make any money? Anyway, okay, let's do
Hashem
one
wants you
song.
to do this. Hashem wants you to do this. Hashem has a plan for him.
Listen, my birthday today, it's also the anniversary of my heart attack. It was during my grandson's Shalom Zacha. I had a heart attack. They carried me out, and I said to my wife, I said, oh my gosh, I'm going to die on my birthday. And only tzaddikim die on their birthday. And I've worked my whole life not to be a tzaddik. And it turns out I was right. But he said, Kosh Baruch Hu miraculously kept me alive. And it's basically to be a prop at my grandchildren's simchas. That's the only reason I'm still here. So anyway, yeah, go ahead. Let's do a song. So, question and answer. What is your favorite instrument? I would have to say a CD. Oh, I was talking about a financial instrument. You meant musical instrument. You know, it is so hard because, you know, obviously a guitar is a lot of fun because you can take it with you anywhere and you can always play it, you know. I was once at a kumsitz and I was playing guitar and I was sitting with dear friend Shmuel Klaver, who's one of the most famous drummers, you know, in the music business. And the guy's playing the guitar, etc. And he says to me, "It's so nice to have an instrument that I could just take anywhere and just play. That's why I learned the drums." And, you know, so everyone has a taiva to be a drummer. Whenever you see a drummer, everyone comes up and says, "Can I play?" And Shmuel said to me once, he goes, "I don't understand. If you're better than me, you're just going to make me look bad. And if you're worse than me, then who needs you? So, like, you know, just go away." But there's a time when everyone feels like they can bang, you know. So that's fun. A piano has such a range to it of things that you can do. My son-in-law, Avi Lieberman, plays the keyboard, and it's just such a beautiful, beautiful thing. You can do so much different types of music you can make with that. But personally, if I had to sit down now at this point in my life and learn an instrument,
I would.
The one that I always wanted is a trumpet.
Oh, really?
Wow.
And why is
I've
that?
thought of that before.
I love trumpets because the sound comes in with such a power to it. You know, it has a power.
It's very interesting because I had a dream last night that I learned to play
No
trumpet,
way.
and I never had a dream like that before. Last night I had a dream that I was like
Something happening here.
It's so weird. I just realized.
trumpet comes in and it's like,
That's a saxophone trumpet.
listen.
Ah.
So at my last regional convention,
He sings
we
my
had-
weddings. Yeah.
we asked for yeshiva band. So during the banquet, every now and then they would do a musical number. So at one point I was fooling around. They asked for, you know what I mean? So I had on some, a hat, my sunglasses, and I was playing with one of their trumpets. You know what I mean? Like, no, I don't know how to play the trumpet. And all of a sudden Moshe Shira says, "Take it away, Rabbi Orlofsky!" And everyone stopped. And I go, I had no idea what I was doing, but it sounded pretty good. So I'd have to go with the trumpet. I would,
Self-awareness from last time with the guy.
So it was like, so I guess maybe that was why I feel like the trumpet was just there. It was given to me in that moment. All right. We have another question. If Steven Spielberg was a completely Orthodox Jew, not working on Shabbos, doing only kosher work, he wouldn't be able to create movies like Jaws or Indiana Jones. Isn't that denying the world entertainment and denying him his creativity?
Wow.
So first of all, let's say yes. Yeah, and guess what? If there wasn't Jaws and Indiana Jones, I think the world would be just fine. I don't think that was something that... Entertainment is basically to get people to escape from reality. It's not like there was no moral message in Jaws, right? You could try afterwards to darshan and say, well, it shows you how governments don't really care about their people. They're like, that's not the reason. It was because you wanted to watch a big mechanical shark eat people. You know what I mean? That was the basic message over there, But there wasn't... Indiana Jones didn't have any underlying message to it, any koyach to it, So as far as that goes, would that be denying him his creativity? Why? He couldn't make films for the frum community that would have meaning, that could touch people. There's a desperate need for that. But
There's no market for
There's
that.
no market.
so
very
so
little
let me
market.
so now I'll tell you a story.
There should be movies in the Yiddish world.
I was living in LA. I was in LA, living in the Valley. And I was teaching at school, and one of the kids, their father was a Hollywood agent, and he said to me, "Kid, you got what it takes." He said to me, he says, "I want to represent you." He says, "We're going to put together a stand-up routine." This was in the late 70s. That's when all the stand-up comics were coming. We'll put up a stand-up routine, and I see you having your own show in a few years. And I thought about it.
Carpool karaoke.
Here it is. Yeah.
Instead of Seinfeld, it would have been Orlofsky. You know what I mean? And I thought about it. So let's say he's telling the truth. I become very successful. So first of all, everybody thinks they're going to be successful, right? But let's say he's right. Yeah, the odds are very small. And let's say I could keep my religious standards. Very hard to be from. Stephen Hill, when he became frum, he was originally starring in the TV show Mission Impossible, and it was Tucker Mission Impossible to try to be frum and do a show like that, and that's why his Hollywood career really didn't take off after that. He basically was in Law and Order, where he could slump in a chair and go, "I can't go to a grand jury with this. I need more evidence. You got to get the widow to talk." Bum, bum, bum. And that was all he did, Those are the kind of roles, you know what I mean? When you're frum, they're not making you an action hero. You're not doing a romantic comedy. It's okay, but let's say I could somehow make a show just, keep all of my values, etc. Stop. I don't know how I look in a web. But anyway,
Tape on Shabbos.
but it's so difficult to be able to try to do that. But let's say I could. And let's say I managed to stay frum, and I have my own show, and I become very successful, And the end of my life, I get up to Shemayim, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu says to me, "So what'd you do?" I said, "What are you kidding? You never saw my show? I was number one, for 6 years. Everybody watched it. It was great. And you can see this episode, that episode, this one, that one, And it was like, I gave you koiches to be able to use entertainment to be able to reach Klal Yisrael, and you decided to spend it on yourself? So what did I give you these koiches for? So you think HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave Steven Spielberg these tremendous koiches so he could make Jaws, or E.T., his, I I don't know if his mother's still around, but I remember when I lived in L.A., she had this little cafe in Westwood, kosher cafe, and she had posters of all her son's, movies, And you'd go there. The food was very good. It was a very nice place. And she would say, "Do you know my son Steven?" I said, "Well, I never met him, but said, yeah, he makes movies." Yeah, absolutely. Now you ask yourself at the end when they both get up to Shemayim, who's the Kodesh Baruch Hu going to be more impressed with? The frum lady who ran the cafe and and spoke to people and was mashpi on them because her son was Steven Spielberg, or Steven Spielberg. The biggest chus that Steven Spielberg has in his life is there's an Eshet Torah dinner where he was speaking at. And he says, Eshet Torah, you do so much wonderful work. I wish you were around when I was a kid. He says afterwards he regretted saying that. He doesn't know why he said it. But, they put it in all their videos. Now imagine that he was from and he used all of his koiches. Whatever that means. I don't know what that means. So I always had this chuk to be in entertainment. In fact, when I used to teach in certain, programs and secular people used to come from L.A., there were people who were producers and were actors, etc. And I would do my stuff. And then afterwards I'd say, "What do you think? Could I make it?" And at one point I had a stack of cards of agents. They said, "Call my agent. You can make it. You can make it." So Kenzain, I could have made it, in that world. And instead we have the Rabbi Orlofsky show. Yeah. Would Klal Yisrael rather have Jaws or Rabbi Orlofsky show? Let me tell you, I'm back from a trip to America, and every place I went, people were coming up to me and they tell me they watched the show, and I told them I don't know this. It seems like more people than I'm able to track the numbers. One person said to me, I didn't even know this. He said to me, "Well, a lot of people call in to Torah Anytime, either because they don't have the internet or they don't want to spend their minutes, you know what I mean? And so they call in. Do we have any way of tracking those? Yeah? All right. Now we're up to 10,032. But anyway, the numbers keep growing. So therefore, HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives you koiches. Everything in this world is neutral. You can use it for Avodas Hashem, or you could use it for yourself. And, it's up to you how you want to use those koiches to be able to go in this world. So if all of the wonderful movies that were made by Steven Spielberg hadn't been made, and instead he used his koiches to be able to reach Jews and bring them closer to Torah, I would imagine at the end of his life that would be a much greater thing when he gets up to Shemayim. And I'd like to believe that even though my TV show didn't take off, instead hopefully the podcast will give chizuk to people and help people along. Okay, that's it for this week. Thank you so much, everybody. We are only filming the show. We haven't even put it online, and we already have 300 views. So I don't know how that's possible. But that's how popular this is. So thank you to everybody who's here, and thank you to a wonderful, talented group of young men who have joined us once again. And thank you so much, everybody, for watching. I'm Dovid Orlofsky, and this is the Rabbi Orlofsky Show.
It's the Rabbi Orlofsky Show. Torah and Simcha, ready to go. It's the Rabbi Orlofsky Show. Knowledge and wisdom will help you grow. Lots of fun in every episode, and we don't have to rhyme. No, we don't. It's the Rabbi Orlofsky Show on RabbiOrlofsky.com. Torah anytime, YouTube and more. It's the Rabbi Orlofsky Show. Torah and Simcha, ready to go. It's the Rabbi Orlofsky Show. Till next time, till we meet again. It's the Rabbi Orlofsky Show. It's the Rabbi Orlofsky Show. It's the Rabbi Orlofsky Show.